Welcome back to the Golf Industry Show here in San Diego, California. I'm on the GCSAA TV live stage here, brought to you by Lebanon Turf. And I'm joined by Mike Zisman of Golf Genius. And we have just been having a lovely conversation about sort of your lifelong devotion to the software industry, writing code back in the 60s. But we're talking about the manifestation of software and intelligent software, well-designed software that's helping tournaments run more efficiently.
Right.
And your Golf Genius group is what you started, what did you say, about a decade ago now?
Literally, we celebrate our 10th anniversary on January 17th.
Okay, perfect. So let's step back 10 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
What made you want to do something like this?
Good question, Tom. So back then, there were a few products that did, I would say, handled tournaments. One provided by the USGA that was provided to most clubs for free, called TPP. A couple of other desktop products that were pretty good, but they focused on the pro shop, right? They focused on helping that guy in the pro shop get all the pairings together and then create the card signs, the scorecards, and all the reports and stuff. Having been a member of golf clubs, we talked about Marion and Saucon Valley, my view was, well, what about the member experience? I mean, that's great for the pro shop. That's what I call less work. So we focused on the member experience. What do you have to do to provide a better member experience, things like live scoring and live TV leaderboards and photography. So our tagline, and it's really true, we call it less work, more fun, more revenue. Less work for the pro shop.
That's right.
And people don't appreciate. Well, I'll give you a good example. GCSAA ran a tournament here this weekend that we did for them. 500 golfers, 4 different courses in 4 days.
Right.
What it takes to put all live scoring, so you got 500 guys sitting on phones, you know, sending scores up into the cloud.
It would seem to me that what you experienced is a natural progression of technology.
Exactly.
You initially design your technology for the people who use it, so that they get comfortable, first of all, moving from what I'm assuming was a piece of paper or maybe a different system, to a system now that you got enough for them. It's still not good for the people who are supposed to be enjoying this experience. That must be the crux of what ultimately changed Golf Genius.
So here's the interesting thing, right? When I say less work, more fun, actually what makes things more fun for the golfer means less work for the golf pro. Because it used to be, you know, you're running some large tournament. Let's say the tournament here is probably a shotgun. You got all these guys coming in at the same time, standing at the score table, looking at the pro, you know, get me up there on the scoreboard, and he's entering scores. Well, now the guys are out on the course entering scores on their own into our phone. They can look at the leaderboard at any time, so I can say...
this is data management that's happening on their phone.
That's now, it's just an app on your phone. Download the app. We provide the app for free because it works with our software.
So instead of writing a score down, now at the same time, what they're getting, is it allowing them to say, you know how like golfers like to write on a scorecard, I 1 putt, I 2 putt, or I had a 170-yard shot from this distance?
It does not do that. It doesn't. So, because you want to be very efficient. So just enter the scores, but you can at any time flip and see the live leaderboard. So I can look and say, hey, Tom, we're in second place. Come on.
That's right.
You know, come on, let's go. And you're seeing all the leaderboard being populated. One of the nice things about our product, and you saw this at the GCSAA tournament, is you can run multiple tournaments at the same time. So for example, here, I looked at it, they were running your classic, you know, player versus field, you know, low gross, low net, but then they had chapter tournaments where every chapter had a team of 5 players taking the best 4 18-hole scores. We call that college golf. It's typical the way college golf is done, right? So you're running multiple tournaments. I call it spread the wealth, right? So I mean, take something like
everybody gets to win something.
Exactly.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Everyone gets a pair of socks. Everyone gets a pair of socks, right? But no, seriously, say you have we do our clubs. So our software is used by private clubs, public courses, and resorts. It's also used by state and regional golf associations, PGA sections, by the USGA. We're in 40 countries, but in a lot of these courses, in most private clubs, you know, you do Monday outings.
That's right.
It's a way to subsidize dues, right? Well, in these Monday outings, you know, you want to have a whole bunch of winners, right? So here's the best 2 balls of foursome. Well, that's 4 people, first, second, third place. Here's low gross, who net. Here's the skins tournament, right?
That's right. You can automate it really easily. All they got to do is put their number in, and then you're just jiggering it around to determine how they shake out.
They enter the gross score, click, click, click.
So the first thing that comes to my sarcastic mind is there an eraser on this app? Because you know golfers and erasers.
So you asked a very good question. So I'll give you it's a great question.
Okay.
So one of the things that people do, and I'll never forget one of our first sales calls was at a place called The Grove in the UK.
Okay.
It's a Troon facility.
Okay.
Very beautiful, beautiful. You know how the Brits have the beautiful shrubs everywhere? And they were using club car golf carts, which we support. And he said, can you turn the scoring off after 15 holes so I don't see any holes for Tom beyond 15? I said, well, yeah, we can. Why do you want to do that? Yeah. Because we don't want everyone else seeing what their score is and doing a little better.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So you can literally say, you know, don't show any more scores after whatever, 15 holes, typically 14 holes. You can do things in our system.
Well, I thought it was interesting. So wait a minute, you brought the golf cart component to it, club car.
Yeah.
Club car.
Club car
So how
and
does that
EasyGo.
work when you're integrating your software with the
We integrate right into that. So a lot of what we do, and this is really important, is we integrate into other people's systems. Because what we do is very narrow. We do tournament management.
Right.
And I tell people, if you want to compete, have at it, but just remember, this is what I do 24 hours a day.
And it's all we do.
I've been doing it for a long time, and it's all we do.
That's right.
And by the way, my company's 3 times as big as your company, and you're doing tournament management, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but so we have to integrate, for example, into Club Car, into EasyGo, so that when they're on their GPS systems, what's nice about those systems is the cart leaves the first green, it knows it left the first green, it puts up the score entry. Okay, put the scores in for hole 1.
Great. So it's integrated with GPS as well.
It's integrated with Club Car's GPS. Obviously, their systems are GPS, so they're putting in the scores. Now someone can go and look at the leaderboard. So it's used a lot, both we're integrated with Club Car and EasyGo. We're not integrated with Yamaha. We would love to. Maybe someday we will.
So when you say you're working with the USGA, you know, it's so funny. You drop off in 40 countries, you work with all these major organizations, then you sort of whisper, we're working with the USGA.
We don't mean to whisper.
Which is the 800-pound gorilla, right? In golf, right?
Yeah.
So are you doing their major events or their handicapping systems or their sort of amateur tournaments that are on Fox as well? How are you working with the USGA?
So think about, you have the USGA. Under the USGA is what used to be called State and Regional Golf Associations. They're now called AGAs, Allied Golf Associations. And under those are lots of clubs. So USGA, Golf Association of Philadelphia, under that Marion Golf Club, Saucon Valley. So the USGA used to supply a old desktop product directly to these clubs.
Okay, so there was something in place
They
before.
did that. We replaced that. They said, you know, we don't need to be in that business. We work with them, and a product called USGA Tournament Management Club goes out to 8,000 clubs, and they're using it. That's the less work side. That's basically the very basic system for the pro shop.
You know, I always like to poke fun at the PGA professionals because they have a bigger show than we do in January. We call them sweater folders. Have they been able to utilize, because, you know, these are golfers, right? Yeah. Have they been able to utilize this technology seamlessly, or was there a learning curve in getting used to it? Did it fit well with what they had, that it made it easy to do what you brought them?
Well, what the PGA professionals would say is, if this doesn't save me time, don't bother.
That's exactly
These guys work incredibly hard. They're no different than the superintendents. I mean, you were mentioning Paul Latshaw Jr.
I'm going to tell you, they're working. The golf course superintendents are working way harder than.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Thank you. Good for that.
But they're all working pretty hard.
But if they're running a tournament, what I liked about what you're telling me is, it looks like if I just do a few things right, I get all these benefits of sectioning out tournaments, ultimately to enhance the player experience. Now, you're a golfer. You must have, what did you do? Go to a bunch of tournaments and say, what the heck are these people doing? Yeah. This is awful. They need to improve this experience. So what'd you do? Just decide you're going to do it?
I had been an entrepreneur my whole career in software. And by 2007, kind of left IBM. I had a company that was sold to IBM. Okay. I was at IBM for a while. Finally, in 2007, I said enough of that, and failed at retirement 3 times. My wife said.
So you tried to retire.
But where it started was, I was always the guy going on organizing the annual buddy golf trip. Oh. So I was always the guy. You know, you got 8 guys going to CI, and we did it. I was very lucky.
You think organizing a USGA event is tough?
Right. So since 1989, I was going on these annual golf trips with buddies, and I realized, boy, this is crazy. You know, at the end of the golf trip, you'd say, you know, I played with Harry 3 times, and you know I don't like Harry. And I didn't play with John at all. And by the way, you know, I rented the car, never got reimbursed. I was like, there's a better way to do this. So it started out focused on buddy golf trips.
Right.
And build a scheduling system that's...
Well, then it's just looking at everything as data, right? I mean, this is what a lot of people, you do it inherently coding since the 60s.
Right.
But understanding that everything is a piece of data that can be managed.
So we started out doing buddy golf trips. It turned out that was actually a pretty small market. But we took the software to golf leagues. So instead of 16 guys playing 5 rounds, it was 60 guys playing 20 rounds.
Right.
Did that for a few years, then realized we really had this software to go into a private club or a resort, which is where we sort of
like
finally...
Bandon or Stream
Bandon's
Song?
a customer. I don't think Stream Song is, I'm not sure, but most of the major resorts...
are using your services.
Absolutely.
So you go from buddy golf, you decide you have this niche, your wife wants you out of the house, so you're figuring out how to start doing these things. When you show up, you must have had to get feedback from the PGA pros right away.
We have 71 people in our company. What's interesting is 29 of them are PGA professionals.
Why wouldn't you do that if you're servicing those people?
We are one of the largest employers of PGA professionals in the country. Golf Tech has 400 sites around the country. I mean, they're huge, but I mean, the average club has 3 or 4 PGA professionals. We have 29. All of our sales reps, all of our account managers, our support people. So we're constantly getting feedback from them. But what I say all the time in the software business is crawl, walk, run. Get something out there, get it in front of customers. They will give you feedback. But you got to give them something to get started. You can't just say, well, tell me what the ideal tournament system is. I don't know. But if you say, here's one, they go, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like that, you should do this. So people are much better at criticizing than synthesizing.
That's right, because the creation of something is where really all the genius lies.
And you're never going to get it right. I mean, you get something out there, as I like to say, you're kind of in here.
So what version are you on? 12.0, 2.0, 10.0?
We have at least 9 new releases a year. We are constantly adding features.
Which means the app is being updated.
The app is being updated. We have 30 people.
I don't think people appreciate the infrastructure needed to do this sort of thing.
What people don't appreciate is the complexity of doing all these things. Because we still do that 8-guy buddy golf trip. This year we'll be doing all the US Open sectional qualifiers.
Great.
Right? So put it in perspective, last year we did 18 million rounds of golf.
Your company?
Our software did 18 million rounds of golf.
How many rounds of golf were played? 40 million?
No, 400, in the US, about 450 million.
450 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, we're not touching casual golf. If I say, hey, let's go out, the 4 of us will go play golf, we don't do that.
This is just
tournaments. So we did 18 million. We did 2 million in 16, 8 million in 17, 18 million in 2018. We're on track to do about 25 million rounds of golf this year.
Well.
So on a typical Saturday, there's 150,000 rounds going on all around the world. And
in a tournament style approach.
Say take June is member guest time, right? So all the clubs are running their member guest, their member. As I like to think about it, you got people pecking at phones all over the world and scores are going up into the cloud.
That's right.
And we're good.
And then sending it back down.
Coming the leaderboards.
And ultimately to enhance the experience for the golfer.
People love it.
And it looks like makes the shop look more organized as well, right?
It makes them look more organized. Well, as I said, first of all, more fun for the golfers, less work for them. I'm sure you've been at tournaments where, guy said, throws his scorecard down and he's saying, well, put my score, and the scoreboard's behind me, right?
That's exactly right.
And they're doing it by hand.
Yeah, in the fancy lettering, they use all these fancy lettering.
Right? And the pros going, look, I at least want to count this up to make sure it's right. People make mistakes all the time. I had a guy call me one time in a league. He said, Mike, we had a perfect day today. I said, John, what do you mean? He said, it was a league play. We had 14 scorecards. Every one of them was wrong. Think about it. Think about what happens when you have a scorecard. You're sitting there, it's raining, you're going like this. Okay, so you're writing down 4 numbers. You have to take what are the 2 best scores, add those up, subtract handicaps. And you did that 18 times.
Well, and
so if I gave you 100 simple math problems, just gave you 100 simple math problems, this plus this minus this simple.
You'd miss 3 or 4.
You missed 3 or 4.
For sure. Well, listen. What a great way to end, and I think we could go another half hour. I want to know how this thing works in the rain when I got to take my phone out. That's a whole other question. Mike, what a pleasure meeting you.
Good to meet you.
Thanks for taking the time to chat about this. Yes, you
Thank
too.
you.
Especially your friend of Gil Hance.
He's a good man.
Nobody I like better.
I said.
Thank you for joining me on GCSAA TV Live here, brought to you by Lebanon Turf. I'm at the Golf Industry Show 2019 in San Diego, California. I'm Frank Rossi. We'll be right back.